So much fun. Thank you guys again for being here. Extreme Christmas.
All right, here we are. It's a commentary track. Here we are sitting with the Canadian legend, and I can say legend now because you are semi-retired.
So I can be a legend just because I'm
You can be a legend now.
Oh, perfect.
Lance Storm.
I should have retired earlier. I could have been a legend real young.
The stage is set here. We're watching the match from Extreme Christmas 2006. The main event, of course, Christian Cage taking on the man to my right, Lance Storm. And this was an electric evening. You see the fans packed to the rafters here as your theme music begins to play. What were you thinking before this matchup?
Before this matchup, I was worried they didn't have my music because I didn't bother bringing any because it's been so long since I've had to. And I don't think they did, actually. I think they ended up playing something else because whenever I do other dates now, I use my old ECW music. And I don't think they had it. So I was sort of sitting back going, wonder what they're going to play. And then when I heard it, it's like, is this me? I don't know. And then out you come.
And there you go. And the reaction, of course, was tremendous. I mean, really, as a Canadian wrestler, of course, you being from Calgary, and here we are in Mississauga, do you feel that as a Canadian wrestler in any Canadian city coming out, it's like a hometown response?
It really is, and it's something we've joked that, the WWE, The Office, doesn't get. It's like, you'll be in, Halifax, and oh, well, he's from Calgary, he can still be a heel, and it's like, I think in Canada, if you're Canadian, it's like Canada's like the world's largest small town. It's like if you've made it and been anywhere else, it's like it doesn't matter where in the country you're from, you're a hometown boy. So it really doesn't matter where you go. And actually Halifax, for some strange reason, was one of my more, the towns I was most over in. So yeah, Halifax was just always nuts. The Maritimes, for some reason, was Storm Country. And Toronto the same way, Mississauga, whichever.
Well, it certainly seems like Storm Country in this match. Those streamers looked awfully close to hitting the eyes, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming they probably picked that up from the Ring of Honor show that I did, I guess, a year previous to this.
Right,
in Chicago, it was like crazy with the streamers, and then they had them here too, which is always cool. And then there's this idiot coming out, so...
Yeah, we don't know who this is.
Yeah, we're not sure who this guy is. I've carried him before.
Of course, you're no stranger to Christian Cage. You've been up and down the roads and matches with this particular gentleman.
Yeah, I actually quit the business once because I lost a match to him.
Is that so?
Yeah, in Winnipeg. It was the first time I'd met him. We were doing a TV taping for Tony Condello, and he was working under a mask as another gimmick that he doesn't like particularly well. He doesn't like to acknowledge the fact that he was the male nurse.
Is that so?
Don Callis booked him as a tag partner for Earl the Orderly, who was just a big monster that was terrible to work, so they needed somebody that could carry the workload, and booked him under a hood with hospital scrubs and was the male nurse. And,
is that so?
Yes, he'll be happy to hear that this is now public knowledge. But he wanted to work on the TV taping as himself, and they were doing a story with me where I was, Jericho had just turned on me and left. I'd been screwed over with a bunch of things. So he had asked if he could work as himself once to get some stuff on tape, so they had me work with him. It was basically supposed to be a squash match, but I had him in the surfboard where I was on my back and got counted down, so I got mad. I couldn't believe I lost to him, and now the refs were screwing me, so I actually took off my tights and boots in the middle of the ring and quit the business. Which is something I've ribbed him about ever since, that, yeah, losing to you is enough to make me want to quit the business.
So how long did that quit the business last?
The rest of the TV taping, I think I refed as part of it for the next week, and then the show never aired, and we never did anything with it, and that was the end of it. But
so did the male nurse ever get any exposure other than those TV tapings?
No, I think he worked maybe a half a dozen shows as the male nurse.
That's too bad.
He was tremendous, though.
BSE, take notice.
Perhaps
you could see the return.
Yes.
The return of the male nurse.
Yes, he was over.
So this match, certainly, as we will see in the next few minutes, is full of, I guess, comedy, you can say. And you saw previously there Captain Charisma use, I guess, the Charisma cam or the Peeps cam or whatever he calls it these days.
The offbeat shenanigans that he loves so much, yes.
Yes. During that time, were you just thinking, you know what, let's just start the match, or what was going in your head at that time?
I don't. It's just more or less just standing out of the way because I know he's going to do his thing, and the crowd enjoys it. But I was starting to get antsy here in a minute to start wrestling and get on with it. That's one thing too, is like I'm not a big fan of babyface matches to begin with, so it's a little bit more awkward to begin with, and then the fact that he's just taking his sweet time doing all his goofy crap.
Here he is changing his weight on the fly.
Oh yes. Was he raising it or lowering it?
He was lowering it.
Lowering it. Wasn't feeling as fat that day, I guess. So he had to drop a couple pounds.
Well, you had mentioned in your commentary about this match that you call him the natural ham. He likes to naturally just play to the crowd, as you mentioned. So
yeah, he's just a are goofball nuts. So.
Well, you're going to see here in a second now he's going to fold his clothes.
Yes, I was really starting to, it's like, let's get on with this, please.
This is a first in BSE, certainly, as you'll see in a second. Christian Cage here begins to fold his clothing.
Yes, fold his pants.
But I mean, much to his credit, the crowd was certainly into this. It was as if it was a riveting matchup. The crowd was watching his every move.
The sad thing is the folding of the pants and jacket may have gotten the biggest pop of the night. At least he's folding them nice and small. It's important to fold your pants into a 4-inch cube.
Yes, yes, in a nice, neat package.
Yes,
he must
want to bring out a hanger and hang them up. He's going to fold them into a cube.
Only one piece of luggage, right?
Yes. It's got to fit in his carry-on. They're so strict now with the airlines.
So you've, as we mentioned, you've had a long history with Christian Cage, and I remember reading in one of your commentaries that you have said that your record with him is rather lopsided in his favor. Do you have any idea or any ballpark on what the record is?
I have no idea, but I would guess I probably maybe beaten him twice. And again, there was the early one that was the the screw job finish with the ref that I put him over, and then in WWE the first half a dozen times in the Invasion. Again, he went over. I remember the first time actually. I'm not sure the exact match, but it was in WWE that we had a match that I was going over, and he was actually jokingly refusing to do it. Like, no way, I've never lost to him. It's just not believable.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, I told him, look, if I don't get a win soon, I am going to quit the business. So he finally gave in. I think I probably beat him once or twice when I had the IC title before I had dropped it to Edge. We probably worked a couple times on the road. Although there was the whole run that I did with Edge for the IC title on the road, he was jokingly that he just did run-ins. And he would joke, so he'd show up in his regular clothes and his flip-flops and stuff because it was the summer. And he would just change his shoes so he could run better, and he'd run in, you know, miss me, spear Adam, and then I'd cover Adam for the finish, and it was like all he did. And he would just sort of joke that he didn't have to change, put on his gear, bring his gear, anything else. He was just on vacation pay and was getting paid as much as we were. All he had to do was change his shoes so he could run. Run
and spear, yeah. You saw there that the crowd was chanting in favor, of course, of the folding, a holy blank chant.
Yes.
For a fold. That could be the first documented one in professional wrestling.
I think the fold your jacket chant was the first one in wrestling history, and probably will be the last one ever. Here's where I foolishly think the match is actually going to begin. That we're actually circling, and I'm like, okay, we're finally going to wrestle, and then Christian decides to do something else. Oh, we've touched, so maybe the match has actually started now.
I was just going to say that's the first touch of the match. So far we're about 5 minutes in, and we have had a handshake. So at least we got some good sportsmanship going on here for now.
Intense action, but we've got a long way to go before this match is underway for sure.
We do see a lot more antics coming up here. And at this point, I mean, you said 2 minutes ago into this match that you were ready to run. I mean, I can only imagine. Oh, and here we go.
I wanted to kill him. As soon as I saw him tease the dance, I'm like, I am going to kill you.
Did you know this was happening? Did you know this was coming?
I didn't know ahead of time, no. And I swore when we first ditched the stupid dance gimmick with Vince that it's like I would never do it again. And this idiot started it. And I was actually half considering, you know what, I'm going to turn heel and just jump this bugger right here, right now, and say the hell with it, because it's, you know, the crowd wanted it. So it's like you either have to give the crowd what they want or turn full-fledged heel. And I was debating on it, and I'm like, I'm going to kill you, you son of a bitch.
Well, at least he's warming up the crowd a little bit here with that White Boy Vanilla Ice routine.
Yes, at least he looks as dumb as I do, although maybe not as dumb.
There it is, the Cabbage Patch.
Oh, God, I hated that thing. Jay still has a receipt coming for that one.
And yet again,
yes,
this is probably the first documented once again.
Yes,
only in BSE.
The robot.
Not bad. I'd say maybe a 7.5 out of 10. What do you think, Lance?
Yeah, I'll give him an 8.
An 8?
Certainly better than anything I could do as far as the robot goes. And he's still not done. That's the fun thing about shows like this, though, when it's not, you know, you're not on TV. It's like you don't have that stopwatch running. But you actually can just do what you want. And the crowd was having fun, you know, which is something that you've really got to do with a match. It's like, you know, you have to just go with the flow and do what the crowd wants. And they were having fun, so you might as well entertain them.
Absolutely. I'm certainly sure that the crowd didn't know what to expect going into this match. They thought they were going to see a technical masterpiece, and thus far, it's been definitely very good showmanship.
Yes, now
here we go with a
5-second
five-second pose. Was this your first 5-second pose?
We actually did promo photos when we were the Un-Americans. And before they do promo photos in New York, they always take a few with a Polaroid just to double check and make sure the lighting's right. So I've got an actual large photo of him and I doing it in WWE just as a goof. So we've done it before. I think first we did it on a show. Maybe not though, because we did some goofy house shows when we were up there. I actually wore, when he was wearing the mesh shirt,
yes.
I actually did a house show where I borrowed his red mesh shirt and he wore the black mesh shirt. We did a house show where I wrestled in the red mesh shirt.
No kidding.
Yes. We had a lot of fun stuff on house shows, which again is the whole point of live events is you get to go and just do what you want. We still got Spinneroonies coming yet.
Oh, goodness. And there begins. Thus begins the Spinneroonie Odyssey. The Peeperoonie.
The Peeperoonie, although he had forgot how he did it. He's like, how did I do that before with Book? Because it was funny when he did the one with, I think it was with Book or was it with Cena? I don't remember which. But he had done the Screwball-a-Rooney.
No, he teasing. So did you know this was coming?
We didn't know any of this was coming.
No, this was all in the ring.
This was all just him doing what he does best, acting like an idiot.
I'm curious to know what was going through his head, the transition between the Cabbage Patch and all of a sudden the Spinneroonie.
Well, I think a lot of it, it's just, the crowd will make some kind of comment, and he just feeds off of that and comes up with the idea. So here comes his rendition. The Peeperoonie. And 2 out of 10 at best.
Yeah, 2 out of 10. 2.5 maybe, because,
Yes, he gets style points, but absolutely nothing for technical merit.
No. But as I recall in this match, though, as we're going to see in a second here, yours is actually quite, I would say, quite technical.
First ever Stormeroonie.
Yes. And as I recall reading in your commentary, you had actually practiced these in your gym with your students the week before.
Yes, you read a lot. That was the funny thing.
I try to research.
Yeah, it was like, the last day of camp, and they were just joking around and wanted to try ones. We were working on them.
Wow.
And so I had done, a half a dozen 2 or 3 days previous. So I actually managed to pull off a remotely passable one, which I think surprised everybody.
Certainly. Well, really surprised Christian Cage, who then decided to do the scissors kick, which is another one of Booker T's signature maneuvers.
Yes, because we both have the hair to do Booker T impressions.
Yes, absolutely. Now, at this point, you must be thinking, okay, are we going to lock up now?
We're at the 35-minute mark of the match. Perhaps we should tie up and start wrestling.
This is turning into a Broadway. Like, the bell's going to ring. It's going to be a draw in any second.
That would have been funny if they'd announced it at a 30-minute time limit. We'd be at 28 minutes, haven't started yet. I think I'm actually saying to him now, are we going to start now, please? Begging you to wrestle. Yeah, we could have karaoke'd or broke into the old Rock Austin routine where they used to sing Margaritaville.
Bring in the guitar. Why not? I mean, play the guitar, Lance?
Yeah, no, I have no musical skills whatsoever. Well, now we're wrestling at least.
There you are. So the lockup was 8 minutes into bell time.
There you go.
And here we go. And now, Christian, it seems. Oh, there's a kick.
This is one of the funny things, too, when we first got to the arena, too. We're sitting back. It's like, this is really weird in that we're both Canadians, so we're both going to probably be baby faces, but both of us are so much better at being heels. It's like, the majority of our career we were both heels. It's our best forte, yet we're both going to be cast as baby faces in this match, which just made it really weird.
I mean, to be honest with you, you could have done anything in this match, and really the crowd would probably have supported you.
Yeah, but it's just a weird feeling, when you're so used to doing one thing and you have to do another, and the other guy is in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
And this would have been my, first match in about 10 months, I think. This was December, and the match previous to this one would have been in May, I think. Was it the end of May? No, it would have been April.
It was, I believe it was April.
The Ring of Honor was
Ring
April,
of Honor was in April, that's correct. Yeah. But you certainly look like you're still in game shape at this point, so.
Well, I try to keep myself in shape.
How early before a match that you take do you begin training? These days, I mean.
Well, yeah, I take so few, Generally speaking, as soon as I know I've got a booking, I start increasing my training. But, I'd like to have at least a couple months extra to, hit the gym a little bit harder and try to get some cardio in. Although it's getting harder now because my one knee's bothering me, that I have to really balance the cardio, because if I do too much, my knee acts up and inhibits what I can do. So I sort of have to try to balance the cardio with my knee and sort of see how I can best balance the two. But I would be I'd have a cardiac arrest before I'd let Jay blow me out.
We are as we record this, actually, it's a matter of days away before your homecoming match in North Bay against Robert Roode. Would you say at this point right now you're in better shape than for this match that we're watching right now?
I don't know. Probably pretty comparable, I would think.
Yeah.
I've stayed pretty consistent since I've retired. I think I might be in a little bit better shape. Gym-wise, cardio, I'm probably about the same.
What's a typical cardio session for Lance?
I usually don't do more than 20 or 30 minutes on an elliptical trainer. I can't do anything with impact.
Right, because of the knee.
Yeah, and I've never been a crazy cardio guy. I've stayed active enough. And the fact that I just finished a session with students, it's like I've been wrestling, 1 or 2 matches a day in class against students, which is certainly a lot less taxing than having a match with a top-end guy, but, it keeps me fluid and keeps my timing down.
You see Christian roll to the outside there. At this point, he's probably thinking, wow, maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously because this guy's still for real.
Yeah, I think he was hoping I'd be out of shape and easy, and he's like, crap. He's still better than me. He's always been better than me.
Here we are, the standard test of strength.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like Christian Cage might have the slight advantage right here.
Yes, it's the leverage of those long, skinny arms.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful bridge.
Not bad for a guy with lumbar issues.
Right back up by Lance.
Oh,
there you go. Nice.
My Owen Hart spot.
There it is, absolutely. Shades of Owen Hart. The late and the great.
No one ever gets a good photo of that. I'll see a million action shots and they never have, me either upside down or in the air. It's always after the fact. It's either too late or too early. Every time I see photos of it, they never get good stills for it. No idea why.
Well, for those that will be watching this on Saturday and taking pictures, make sure that you get Lance upside down.
Yes, assuming I do that this Saturday.
Assuming you do that. If that occurs,
yes.
If we are so lucky, then.
Yes, one of my few babyface moves I pull out whenever I have to be a babyface.
So you were mentioning funny things that have happened, like the wearing the chain shirts. What other stories can you think about pertaining to Christian Cage that have happened over the years?
Oh, just anything involving him is always an amusing time. I think the mesh shirts was one of the funniest.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've been razzing him a lot here, but certainly do have some really good memories with him inside and outside the ring.
That and just remembering how stiff he is. his punch every once in a while. We did a show in Australia. It was against Ray and Kidman, and it was the first time. It would have been the first time either Ray or Kidman, I don't remember which, worked with him. And we had joked about how stiff he is. And there was one point where I was in with whoever it was, and I tagged Christian in, and he stepped in and threw a punch and hit him. I could hear it just as he clubbed him with it, and I just went sorry and got out of the ring. It's like I apologized to him for tagging out.
There you see an armbar right back into the corner. Will this be a clean break?
Of course not. It's Christian. Oh, maybe it will.
Oh
be.
goodness, he's playing with the hair.
He's trying to mess my hair, seeing that it's a 1/4 of an inch long and messes so well.
I think you actually referenced. There you go. You referenced the fact that he was either messing up or pulling the hair.
Yes, I hate when my hair gets messy.
Yeah,
remember one time Jericho, when he did the first J Cup in Japan, there was photos of him. He wrestled 4 matches in one night, and his hair was just all over the place in the photos, and I was making fun of him. He's like, I dare you to wrestle 4 matches and your hair still look good. And he stopped and looked at me and says, hell, he says, I guess you could, couldn't you? I'm like, yeah. Oh, my Ricky Steamboats.
Oh, and looks like receipts. Yes. How are you feeling into this match? I mean, you did mention this was 6 to 7 months since your last match, so at this point you're still feeling good?
Oh, yeah. I felt fine up until he broke my throat.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
That's one thing, too.
Turning point.
That's a bit easier, especially since I've been retired, is when you're a babyface, your cardio doesn't have to be as good as when you're a heel. Mm-hmm. So it's, it's easier on me. I don't have to be quite as good a shape being a babyface as I do as a heel. There's a ref in the way, of course. Get your butt out of the way.
Beautiful standing suplex.
Yeah. See, I steal stuff from a lot of different people. I stole that from Davey, stole the other from Owen, stole this from William Regal.
You can hear the crowd now chanting, "You still got it."
I hope so. I'm not that old. It's not like I'm pushing 60 or anything.
No. Although we did just give you the legend moniker.
Yes, legend. That's a bit of a stretch, but...
I mean, many people associate legend with old. I think that's a misconception.
Well, I think so, but I think people throw around the term legend far too easy. I think I'm a long way from legend. There's only 3 or 4 people I'd put legend status on.
Oh, beautiful.
Stole that, too. That's one thing I tell everybody, though. It's like, there's no original moves anymore. Everyone's stealing something from somebody. It's like, even if you've never seen it before, I guarantee there's some guy down in Mexico that's been doing it for a year and a half.
Yeah, or in Japan, or right next door, right under your nose.
Yes, someone's done it. It's
But
just
of course,
finding the stuff that hasn't been done in a while.
we all know that Lance Storm invented the standing side headlock.
Yes,
That's
tie-up, that's mine.
Absolutely the tie-up.
Although the rolling half crab, should probably take credit for, because the guy who did do it first that I stole it from forgot it was him.
Ah, well,
This is mistimed.
Finders keepers, right?
Exactly. But no, Terry Taylor was the first one I saw do it. He did it into a full crab. And when he was an agent in WWE and I had done it, he asked me where I got the idea for it. I'm like, I stole it from you. He's like, really? I did that? Yes, on a Clash or something against Wild Bill Irwin, he did it into a double, though. And I originally did it into a double in Japan, but realized that it was awkward trying to hang on to both legs, and I realized it'd be so much smoother just using the one, so I went to the one, and then it kind of stuck.
Well, hey, if the wrestler forgets, then
Yes.
transfer of ownership has been complete.
Exactly. It's a free game at that point.
Beautiful springboard. Oh, and a slam. Turns it into a power slam, and the balance of power has shifted in this match now.
Yes.
The crowd is certainly into this match. Big Irish whip. Back by drop. Oh no, kick to the sternum.
Oh, here comes the broken throat. There it goes.
Oh, brother.
Here comes
Was
again.
it the first one or was it the second one?
I don't know. Both were stiff. Which one did it? I have no idea.
What? And you're certainly feeling it at this point.
Not too bad yet, but yeah, I can feel that my throat hurts. That it was like, ow, that was really stiff.
What happened exactly? Was it like a baseball lump in the throat? Was it a piercing pain? Like what happened upon that impact?
Just hurt like it got wrapped in the throat. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it started hurting when I swallowed. Because it's the hyoid bone.
Did you know something was wrong when you were trying to talk to Christian and your voice was
It didn't affect my voice right away. It just hurt to swallow, and it just just hurt. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you stiffed me, no big deal. And it wasn't until later on in the night that it started getting worse. I guess it started to swell up and stuff, because as the night went on, my voice got worse and worse, and eventually I couldn't talk or eat.
I remember you did a interview post-match, and actually speaking with you after this match, your voice was very raspy. You had actually compared it to WWE agent John Laurinaitis.
Johnny Ace.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the bump I took to the floor, there was the stairs underneath me that I sort of half landed on the stairs and on the floor, and everybody keeps asking me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, yeah. And it was my throat that was bothering me, not the bump. Like, "Are you all right? You're all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I'm just like, just trying to get my breath.
Christian Cage in the ring, pulling no punches, no kicks either.
No, he doesn't pull any of his stuff.
Right to the small of the back.
Yes, considerate of him.
Now playing you see there, he was playing the heel, yet the crowd still cheers, saying, "How about your hero now?" And yet the crowd still says, "No, we will still."
Well, that's the Toronto crowd always has done what they wanted. That's why I think WWE hates doing TV there, because they never respond the way they're supposed to. They always do what we want to do, and the hell with the way we're programmed, which I think is best. You know what I mean? Whenever the crowd just does whatever the hell they feel like, it is always the more natural response.
We certainly see that in the crowds at BSE as well, especially in the Mississauga area. I mean, you can certainly see that from this. Here it is. Will it be? No.
No.
Okay,
He's a
Maple
wily
Leaf.
one, that Christian Cage.
Yes.
He's wily. Standing on my lumbar. My 4 bulging discs.
Several appearances now in BSE.
We go mounting the comeback.
Yes, the huge offense.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how this match came about? Because we know that at this time you were not taking bookings regularly. So why BSE? Why at this time?
Well, it was actually through a guy by the name of Mike Patry who does the Northern Ontario shows. I talked to him before, and he was hoping to convince me to work either North Bay or Timmins at one point. And I was a little leery of doing it, but was considering it. And I said only if it was the right guy or whatever. And he had mentioned that they were doing a show in Toronto, and the possibility of wrestling Christian, and I'd already started considering the option of working a show. And then the idea of working Christian. And again, when I was first taking bookings, I don't like just taking them for anybody. But I had talked to Christian, and he had, said that the BSE show he'd worked before was really good, and it was a good show. So, it sort of gave me the possibility. It's okay, if it's a decent show, I don't mind working it. And then when it was going to be with Christian, so I figured I'd give it a go. Because it's always fun working with Jay, despite the fact that he always potatoes you or does something. But
that sounds like a whole ton of fun.
Yes. Hey, if you can't beat up your friends, who can you beat up?
That's true. It's well spoken and well said.
That's the thing in this business. It's usually the stiffest and most painful stuff is from your closest friends. You don't have to worry about offending anybody.
In which case, we were all surprised then he didn't come out of this match black and blue.
Yes, because at this point I really didn't care if I hit him or not. You know what I mean? Oh, if I tag him really bad, so what? This guy's already hit me in the throat and I can't breathe.
Yeah. There it is. You would think that would cause a throat injury of his own. However,
the front turnbuckle. It's a bump I won't take. I hate taking it. It's just
never on the front turnbuckle, no.
I just well, it's more the sternum than the throat. It's just that Brett and Owen did it so well that it's like unless you can do it, and actually you can't do it well with cables. You need real rope to get the right stretch and snap out of the turnbuckles. But it's just when they did it so well, it's like if you can't do it that well, there's no point. And it's like I've never had one as good as Brett or Owen did, so it's like I didn't want to do the lesser one. House of Fire.
It's a term often thrown around in the wrestling industry, House of Fire.
Yes. Here we go. We'll go back to the abdomen.
Oh, over the ropes. Nope, looks like a springboard about to come up. Yes. I saw that as a flying tackle. Oh, there's a referee.
It was a clothesline. He was smarter than you were.
Yes.
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 I never do a flying tackle.
Instilling. Nope, never.
Actually, off the ground. Actually, I did a flying tackle at the beginning, but just off the ground, never off the springboard.
Oh, and a spear.
Oh, the spear.
Will this be it? 1, 2, and no.
Shades of Edge. There we go. Actually, the spear is done by everybody now.
Yeah, it could be Shades of Edge, Shades of Rhino.
Shades of Rhino, Shades of Goldberg.
Shades of Goldberg.
Although
Shades of Bobby Lashley.
Yes.
Whatever the case may be. I mean, it's been passed around.
Actually, Cena does it now too, doesn't he?
Cena does.
Pretty much everybody does. It's one of the easier moves that looks good.
Oh, and
he missed.
And he missed.
What a shame. I've got him scouted. I've been watching my tapes.
Oh, beautiful.
There's right in the chin.
That was close, but a 2 count only.
That was right on the button, though.
Yes, certainly. How Christian was able to stand after that.
Well, he hasn't actually stood yet.
He was trying to. How was he actually moved? That looked very. He was trying to get out of the maple leaf. Oh, come on. We can't stand for this. Here we go one more time. And the unprettier.
Prettier. Again, even that was stolen. Invented by Tommy Rogers.
Really?
It was a Tamikaze, yep. It was in ECW when he first invented it. Said he was laying in bed one night at like 3 o'clock in the morning and had the idea. And he actually phoned a buddy of his. I need you to meet me at the gym now. He says, I got this cool idea I want to try. And the guy said, what? And he said, I think he paid the guy $50. Look, I'll pay you $50 if you go to my gym right now. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. He went down and worked it out and did the move. He started doing it in ECW. And then Christian stole it from him. But yeah, it was the Tamikaze by Tommy Rogers.
Wow. A little piece of history on the unprettier there. There's a big slap in the face.
Yes, it's always a good day when you can slap Christian in the face.
And there it is.
And those long,
Will he
skinny
make it to
legs
the
makes
ropes?
this hold even
And
more
you were
effective.
just mentioning, I was just going to mention the long, skinny
Long,
legs.
skinny legs.
Better vantage point to get to the ropes. However, smart move pulling him back.
Look at the face. Uglier than it usually is.
And he reaches the ropes.
Rotten, no good. Uh-oh.
Oh, he caught the super kick. That could have been the turning point right there.
Yeah, could have been it.
And there it is. The Unpretty or Tamikaze.
Yes, ×2.
1-2, and he pulls out the victory.
Yet again. If there's ever a case of a guy having my number, Christian's it.
Maybe this is why he enjoyed this match, and he continually takes these matches.
Probably why he encouraged me to work the show.
he said, it'd be nice to have another victory.
Number. I can get another one.
Now, is there an exchange going on right here?
I think I'm sticking my finger in his ear, actually. For a brief moment, I think I stuck my finger in his ear. 30 minutes
Over
in the ring.
30 minutes, yes.
Perhaps
First
only
8 minutes
7 of them were actual wrestling. We did 20 minutes of folding a jacket and spinaroonies. But I remember laying there going, man, because I was really winded come the end of it. First I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, man, I shouldn't be this winded after the match. And then afterwards, when my throat started getting worse, I was like, maybe I was winded because my throat was swelling shut.
Because of the clothesline that
might not have
occurred
actually been that I needed more cardio. It might have been that it's hard to breathe with a broken throat.
could have destroyed the throat. What ended up happening there? What was the prognosis?
There's a hyode bone that attaches to the back of your tongue. It actually anchors your tongue. It's like the only bone in the throat that's not attached to the other bone. And actually broke, which actually can be really quite serious. It can lacerate your throat, or if it comes dislodged, you can actually choke on it. So it actually was very serious, but I didn't know it at the time. So it could have been far more serious than it was.
So there you have it, Christian Cage with victory over Lance Storm. Why don't you give us some final thoughts on that match?
Boy, final thoughts. I hate final thoughts. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Well, why don't you give your beginning thoughts?
My beginning thoughts. There you go. No, it was a great time. Whenever you get to work, somebody as good as Christian and somebody you like and had such a history with, it's a lot of fun. And then with the crowd too, which is why I take the occasional booking like this, because I still enjoy the process of having a match when the crowd is right there with you and can relate to them. It's a real great experience when the two guys in the ring can just go out there for the sake of doing the art and having the crowd enjoy it.
There you have it. You just heard commentary from Lance Storm. It was BSE Extreme Christmas 2006. This is Art O'Cal signing off.